Hello, beautiful people. So, today we're going to talk about how do you talk to yourself? How do you react to your thoughts? How do you speak to yourself when you are thinking about something that maybe you don't want to think about? How do you speak to yourself when maybe you're feeling jealous or envious about somebody and that feeling makes you feel ashamed of yourself? How can you even think that way? Ew, I'm jealous? How do you talk to yourself in those instances? Because I can guarantee for the majority of the people out there, unfortunately, they're not speaking to themselves with compassion and with a lack of judgment. Our society is filled with so much judgment. There's this label of the right way and the wrong way to do things that is presented to us. And it's totally unfair because it limits, our thinking. It makes us feel that there's a right way to think, there's a wrong way to think. There's a right way to be successful, and there's a wrong way to be successful. So everything feels way more closed off. But to even get to healing how we speak to ourselves, we need to start with absolutely level one. And it's that resentment that many of us feel towards ourselves. The negative self-talk. If it's not nice to speak to somebody else with such a mean way of speaking, then why is it okay for us to speak to ourselves that way? It shouldn't be. It should be not normalized to speak so meanly to ourselves. And, self-talk, it all goes back to just every experience that you have. It's your social conditioning. It's things that may have not been within your power to control, but you've absorbed. So you develop this way of speaking to yourself that may not be compassionate nor very productive in the sense of inner growth and inner love. And you find that the way that you speak to yourself transfers to how you speak to other people, because it is so okay for you to speak and communicate in one way towards yourself. It's so normalized that if someone else doesn't like how you speak to them, it's like, well, I talk to myself that way, so why can't you deal with it? And then everyone else becomes the issue. Do you see what I'm saying? Forgiving that mean voice that you have in yourself by talking to yourself with compassion. Every individual has their own way of speaking to themselves. Everyone has their own way having productive conversations, like inner conversations. But sometimes we recognize that maybe how we're talking to ourselves doesn't make us feel very happy or very comfortable or very loving. It makes us kind of rough and not very nice, Then it's like, are we really having a productive conversation here, or are we just self-sabotaging even more? So if you feel like that's you, then boy, do I have a conversation for you guys. We need to learn to forgive ourselves. And this is something that is very hard to tackle, especially if you come from kind of a more traumatic upbringing. You need to learn to forgive yourself. Maybe for self-sabotaging, maybe for not doing what you want to do, maybe for not believing in yourself enough, for how you talk to yourself, for these habits that you keep being stuck in that are not expanding your growth or expanding your dreams, these things that you're doing to yourself that you hate so much, and you're like, why do I keep doing this? Why is it always this cycle? I need it to stop, but I can't. If you notice, even when you just talk to a person or a kid, a child, if you're trying to redirect a child's behavior, just the way you present your speaking, just the way that you present changing that direction, the way that you speak to that child or speak to that person, that alone can motivate them to change directions in their behavior. So imagine that if you're able to speak to yourself in a different way, it could be the same. It could be to where it's more easy to change your behavior because now you're speaking to yourself with compassion. And the way to get to that level that you're able to talk to yourself with compassion and with love is, one, by literally faking it till you make it. And two, by letting go of any resentment that you have towards yourself. For forgiving that part of you that has been so hard on you, that part of you that has been bullying you a little bit, the part of you that maybe this is something you got from a parent, this is something you got from, just friends growing up that didn't treat you as kindly as they should have, this mean inner voice that is just too hard on you, forgiving that and just being like, hey, listen, I know that we did not have it the easiest, that life is challenging, and that sometimes we feel lonely, sometimes we feel isolated, but I love you and I am here for you. And you are my number one. You are my love, my everything in this world. And I will do anything I can to get you to where you dream to be. We will do it together. Just talking to yourself like that. And even if it feels uncomfortable, because I will say for me, the thought of even looking at myself in the mirror like a year ago and telling myself, I love you, I would be like, the fuck? Ew. Like, ew, that's so cringe. Like, I would so watch videos where people would talk about what I'm talking about right now and just be like, how do they do that? Like, that's so cringe. But then I realized that came from a place of lack because that wasn't something I was used to. But obviously I kept watching these videos, so a part of me was compelled to change. There was a part of me that I saw in these people that I wanted to bring out within myself. That's what I hope that you guys get from this as well, is if you feel like a part of you is really wanting to change, and obviously you do feel like that because you're watching this video. If you feel like a part of you is really wanting to change, you need to take the steps even when it feels so uncomfortable. You know, obviously change is change when you're stepping out of your comfort level. Like, you can't stay in that small box and expect your box to expand. Do things that will help you to forgive yourself. And honestly, journaling is the best thing, really, in my opinion. There's so many ways you can probably go about this, but writing a letter to yourself and apologizing and forgiving, it's kind of two-sided. It's like, I am so sorry if I've ever made you feel like you didn't deserve something, if I ever made you feel like you did deserve all the bad things that you were getting, if I made you feel like you aren't worthy, or you aren't the most beautiful person in the world, that you aren't the most amazing person to me, that you aren't someone that I really, really admire and love and who deserves all these things. And then you also say, I forgive you for limiting yourself because you didn't know better. I forgive you for believing that you felt like you didn't deserve these things because that was what you were taught. And I appreciate you for caring so much about me, about us, that you're able to be the self-aware and be honest with yourself and step into a better version of yourself because you know that's what we deserve. And the way, when you start treating your relationship with yourself like it is your lover, or like it's your best friend, somebody that you really care about, you gain so much self-respect and compassion. And when you have so much self-respect and compassion, then you have more to offer others in relationships as well. If you are someone who can't even offer yourself compassion, you need to get to that point where you need to fake it so you make it, and then you get to that level and you'll be able to accept that in relationships. You'll be able to accept love and honesty and loyalty because you know you deserve it, and at the same time also give it back. Because oftentimes relationships, we're like, oh, you know, when we feel like we're not getting enough, we stay in these relationships. Maybe we don't even communicate our issues, but we stay in these relationships because we believe it's what we deserve when it's not. And we know it's not because it makes us feel not good. It makes us feel very unhappy, but we stay in them because we're not even offering ourselves any better. So how are we going to accept better, you know? For example, I'm going to give my own personal kind of story. For me, I would grow up I was just very lonely, okay? I felt very alone for the longest time, and it's still something that I'm working on myself, and I actually journaled about this today. It felt like I couldn't trust people, right? It felt like, for me, people come and go, not in a way that was like in a healthy way. It was like people are gonna leave me anyways, so I don't need people. And so I was very avoidant, you know, I would push people away. And instead of making room for myself to learn how to love in relationships, for me, welcoming a new relationship, a new friendship, and being ready to expand how I view love, to being willing to learn how to love and how to accept it and seeing it as this new awesome experience, I would just kind of go in with, you know, I need to really watch out. I need to be super cautious because I'm gonna end up alone again, and kind of already accepting that. Like, for me, it was so temporary. So I realized that a lot of what I was seeking was almost kind of unfair to the other person. And it's not that, like, I don't deserve this or anything. It's just that I was very closed off, because for me, if someone didn't give me a certain amount of attention or didn't reassure me enough that they cared about me, I would assume that they literally hated my guts, you know? And then as I started taking like psychology courses and stuff like that, I realized that this is not normal. Like, this is not that it's not normal, because I don't really like that word, but this is not healthy. And why is it that I'm relying so much on other people to give me attention? It was like, who am I asking to fill these gaps in my heart? Like, why am I asking these people who I like met maybe a year ago? They don't know me, you know, they don't even know like how I grew up. They don't know much about me, and I'm relying so much on their love and their opinion and their validation. So I kind of just had this moment. Actually, I had this moment today. I was like, you know what, Yusra, you're gonna have to like literally lay in bed with yourself and just like comfort yourself. I was just like, bro, no, I'm gonna lay in bed, I'm gonna journal. And this was something I was working on for so long. I was like, I need to know how to give myself the proper attention to fill these gaps in my heart, so that way, as I'm working on it, you know, with the help of relationships that I'm manifesting and friendships that I'm bringing into my life, because I have the self-respect that I would only accept like good, loving people into my life. So on top of me already helping myself, I'm attracting people who are also going to aid in this. It's a collaboration. You can't just expect somebody to come in and fix your issues, because you're not even fixing yourself. So how do you know what to even fix, what you even want, you know? But these deep conversations, they will start to come up when you forgive yourself, because when you aren't forgiving yourself, you're not really giving yourself that space to be vulnerable. You might, but it's not gonna come from the most compassionate place. And especially when it's areas in your being that is just traumatized and hurt, you need to target the hurt with the compassion and with a lack of judgment, okay? How you might treat yourself, you can make unhealthy choices, harmful choices, or you can make healthy, loving, and compassionate choices. And you choose, okay? You choose what you are giving to yourself and what you're projecting out there. And that will decide the quality of your life and where you end up, pretty much. So, be easy on yourself, you know? You're only human. There's so much that you still have to experience, no matter how old you are. There's so many conversations that you could still have with yourself, no matter how old you are. But it has to come from a place of genuine understanding that you deserve love and you are worthy, and you only deserve to be spoken to with respect, kindness, compassion, and love. There's no other way around it. You wouldn't talk to a child in a mean way. You know what I mean? Speak to a way that aids your inner child, that aids actually just your inner being in general. Wherever you're at in life, whatever you feel like you need to work on, speak to that person in the appropriate manner, you know? So that's why I say forgiving yourself is very important, because oftentimes we don't even realize we need to forgive ourselves. We think that, you know, everyone out there is the issue, but don't even think that everyone out there is the issue if the way that you're speaking to yourself is not even in a kind way, you know? Come on, start inside. Everything out here is a reflection of inside, because whatever you really believe you deserve, it is what you're going to immerse yourself in reality, okay? You're not gonna have high self-respect and love and understand the worth that you have, but then also accept low vibrational relationships, or, you know, not good people or not good situations. You're gonna know you deserve more. So think about that. Where are you putting yourself in your life? Where are you settling in your life? You know, but this really all comes after you, maybe not even after. Honestly, I think I was working on this stuff before I even fully forgave myself. And forgiving yourself, it is a process, because it's like when you have a negative self-thought. Like for me, even like today, if I have like a thought that's like, oh, ugh, that's so cringe that I did that in the past, I'm just like, Yusra, it's fine. It's fine. And, you know, maybe don't speak to yourself that way because you're that bitch. Hello. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to quickly make a video about this. And I probably will dive into more aspects on this. Actually, I definitely will because everything is so interconnected. And let me just emphasize once again, journal and follow your intuition with how you're healing and stuff, because it is so based on the individual level in terms of like what you need to work on. And I don't know, I just feel like sometimes people are like, this is the right way to heal, this is the right way to do this, and it's like, just absorb what you feel like is calling to you. Anyway, but I will say that everything that I just said it is very important. Hopefully this video resonated with you. And yeah, I love you and I think you're awesome. And if I could write you a letter about how awesome you are, I would. This is what this is actually. This entire video is a letter to you about how awesome you are. So, okay. You're a gem and I love you, and take care of yourself. Take it easy. Yeah, okay. Mwah. Bye.